Ford Spalding, and I'm chair of the building committee, and with me is Ruth Townsend, who is on the committee. As I said earlier, this is Jack Walsh's meeting.
Oh, thank you.
And, Jack, we want to thank you for asking to do this and helping us get people here. And if you notice what's happening, people are joining. So you did a good job.
All you're getting are the audio.
If everybody could mute themselves, I'm going to, Ruth is going to make the presentation, and then after that, we can talk as long as you all want to. So, so if everybody would mute them, and if I'll mute you if you're not muted. Okay, Ruth, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, I will make this short, but I did just want to bring everybody up to date in case some people hadn't joined the meetings recently. Just looking at the latest designs and the external designs too. So we've got the two different ones, the two different designs. This is the first, which is Save the 1910. This is partial renovation. So if you've heard us talking about new and renovate, this is the renovate model, but it's actually partial. So we'll be taking the 1910 building that's still there, which is where the cafeteria is, where the blue room is, and we'll be fully renovating that, completely gutting it inside and fully renovating it, and then adding on a new section, which you can see here, where this kitchen and community room are. So where you can see the orange, which is the COA office space on the ground floor, this is where you have, at the moment, you have the cafeteria and you have the blue room. But as I said, this is going to be fully renovated, fully gutted. So I know that some people have raised concerns about the window space.
Okay.
Thank you.
So where the windows are, at the moment, they're around 4.5 feet from the ground on the inside of the building. And what the architects are going to be doing is lowering that so it's only 3 feet from the floor of the building. So if this particular design is chosen, then one of the first jobs they're going to do is actually clear the ground from out the front around the edge of the building outside so that they can get down to the foundation and check the waterproofing, check that it's all in good condition. And then they will be putting some of the ground back, but they'll make sure that it's well below that windowsill so that there's no water damage if the snow gets up that high, or no water damage. This is the first floor. So this has the fitness room, which would be for dance, yoga, to have a sprung floor. It has a conference room, which would be for meetings, and a flex activities space, which actually would have a dividing wall that could be put in or taken out. And then this yellow section is a small play space, so where parents could sit and wait for other siblings that are in classes, and younger siblings can play there. This is looking at the outside, the external design. So this is what the architects at the moment have worked on. They have been this is the latest ones that we had. This was a couple of weeks ago. We do have another meeting tomorrow night if anybody's interested in joining, and there'll be any updates then on these designs. So here you can see this building is the 1910 that we'd be keeping. And this building is the new build. So this is what would be going onto it. So this is the community space and the kitchen. And as you can see here, we've got this monitor type roof with this lovely great skylight in the top that'll let in a lot of lights, and all these great big long windows here as well to bring in as much light as possible. Out the front here, where you can see these trees, would be a kind of patio area, so you could sit there and see who's walking by. And then there would also be another section in the back, which I'll take you through and show you. So as you can see, this is keeping the existing brick building, and it's adding on things that will complement that in the design and in the build. And this is the back of the same 1910. So here in the top left, you can see the back. You can see this would be the community centre with these lovely, great big floor-to-ceiling windows. You'd have the entrance to the building here, which would take you into a communal space. There'd be a welcome desk. There'd be somebody there all the time who would welcome you in, be able to direct you to where you want to go, what classes you might be signed up for, or sign you up for a class if you've just come in on the off chance. Now moving on to, this is the new build option. So this is completely new build. So it would be completely demolishing all the buildings that are there and building this new property. So this is again 2-story. So on the ground floor, you have, I'm just looking at this. Yeah, unfortunately, this is actually the wrong design, isn't it, Ford? I'm just looking. This is the, let me just, yeah, I'll try and, during the meeting, I'll try and get that up for you. For some reason, that seems to have taken it all, it's gone over each other. Basically, with the 2-story new build, the COA, the Council on Aging, is actually on the 2nd floor in that one. But it's actually, and I'll show you where it is, it's in this corner here, the Council on Aging. And as you can see there, there's a great balcony that you can walk out onto and these lovely windows. So this would give an awful lot of light into this Council on Aging. On this 2nd floor, the Council on Aging does almost, for a lot of the day, would have almost its own section. A lot of the rooms that it would use for activities would be up there. So it would almost be like this, your own little centre for a big part of the day. The things that would be on the ground floor would be things like the community centre room, the recreation space, and some of the meeting and flexible use spaces. But a lot of what you would be using, like the fitness, the flexible spaces, would be upstairs. This is the front of the new build. So this is one of the main entryways. And as you can see, it would have this glass type stairwell going upstairs as well to bring in as much light as possible. And also this would be this fitness space. And this fitness movement studio would be on this corner here, where my cursor is, near the trees. And that would bring in an awful lot of light there to it. So it would be a flat roof. Again, as I said, you've got this, they break up the fact that it's quite plain, you know, that it's quite vertical in shape with all the windows. They break it up with this balcony going round. And this is what you can see at the back, where you've got, again, the community space, which is the long floor to ceiling windows and this lovely balcony that is usable, that you can walk out on. And again, we'd have patio space out here just in the same way as we would with the 1910. And here you could go and get a coffee from the cafeteria space that's inside the cafe space and bring that out. Now, this is how we're looking at the site as a whole. So the blue space there represents both the new build or the renovation. And as I said, there'd be this space here at the front where there'd be a patio with some tables and chairs. And again, the space at the back here. This is obviously the entryway, so you'd walk out this way. And then this section here is where you'd have some of the accessible parking. And the way it would work is down towards this bottom left-hand corner is where Whiting Road is. So you would come in through there. There's a number of parking spaces down in this section. And then this is what they're describing as this milk jug handle, which you would be able to drive round through the section, drop off and come back out. And at the moment, we're still looking into traffic flow studies to see whether or not it would be best to have people going out towards Springdale or back towards Whiting Road. This red square here is where we are looking at the moment at having a recreational court. So a hard court, think about basically what the basketball court is now, but it would be newly built. So it would be a good surface for basketball and other activities. And that is the end of the presentation. I do apologize about the new build designs. And if anybody's got any particular questions on those, I can get those designs up for you and find the correct one while we're answering some other questions.
Thank you, Ruth. Let me just add, when I look at the site plan, we have not made decisions on the site plan. The recreation court has moved around. This is its third or fourth location. We're trying to figure out exactly where that should go. My hunch is maybe just put it right back where it is right now. We're working with the neighbors on that. We're listening to them. They're concerned, and their concern really, as I'm hearing it, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong, is, it's the pickleball thing. Is outside pickleball is a concern because of the noise. And, you know, whether that whole recreation court should be at Caryl or should be here where it presently is, that's all going to be a discussion. We're getting it priced, so we know what that will cost. And so we'll know more about that. In terms of pricing, we have two firms that are looking at what our plans are today to make sure that we have to make sure that we're within a $13 million budget, which is what we promised you at the October 7, 2019 meeting. So we are looking at that. We'll see what happens and we'll know more. Plans are still being made. You know, what you just saw was about 10 days old. Tomorrow night, you might see some new changes. It's a continual work in progress. So why don't we just open up for questions, comments, and Ruth and I will do our best to answer them. So because I can't see you all, just hop right in, but I did just see Jack Walsh. So Jack, if you'd unmute yourself, and if you can't, there you go. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, my big complaint is the new addition and the COA on the second floor. That's a mistake. You folks have heard the COA board vote unanimously against it. What action have you taken?
This is a community center. It's not.
I knew that was going to be the answer. That's not the right answer.
Let me finish, Jack. This is a community center, so we have a lot of input from a lot of different groups on what they want. We're getting a lot of wants, especially they're sort of picking up now even more. We did show about 6 weeks ago a rendition of having the COA on the first floor in the new building. It would mean certain changes to the building. The community room would probably have to go to the second floor and not be on the first. Park and recreation might have to go up also on the second floor. The CMAC, Kathy Weld's committee, is looking about the management of the building. Right now, we're thinking that probably Park and Recreation will be in charge of managing the building on a regular basis, and to have them in the second floor might not make a lot of sense. So we've had to weigh everything, and right now it is on the first floor. I mean, excuse me, it is on the second floor. There was a option that we showed maybe 2 months ago of a one-story building new, and that received no support. And COA obviously was on the first floor then, but that received no support really from anybody. It got maybe 10 votes out of a couple of hundred. So the option was there, but the community didn't say that's what they wanted. So that's my answer. It may not be what you want to hear, but we're down the road, and the option for the second floor is on the renovation, partial renovation, which is another great option.
So the COA on the first floor of the new addition, new building is out. You're not looking at that any further?
We did look at it. Any other comments, questions? Gene McDonald, you're going to unmute yourself. Gene, you're muted. Okay.
Hi. You did have a plan where it was on the first floor, and when you found the expenses were getting too great and you had to scale the building down, you moved it at that point upstairs. Deb Fennick said she could revisit that when you had moved it and see how she could fit it in. And I think she was looking for authorization from you to revisit it. And I was wondering how that went.
We did ask her to look at it, and she did, and she came back with a recommendation, which we looked at in a meeting and didn't approve it. Anything else? Any other comments? Aaron.
Hi, how are you?
I am great to see you.
Thank you. I have a question about the roof line of the new building.
Yeah.
I think as you know from phase one, I always assumed I was a staunch new builder for all of the other reasons, the environmental concerns, et cetera, et cetera. But there's such a stark aesthetic difference here. And I'm wondering if the roof line, if there are other things than aesthetics that informed the flat roof that we should be aware of, because otherwise it seems to me that it is such a departure based on the renderings. It's such a departure from town center and the other existing buildings, and even the library, which is relatively new, that I wondered what the thinking behind that was.
The thinking was we did look at having a different kind of roof line. There's an expense to that, which would probably put us over budget. Unfortunately, when you have a building that's going to be 15,000 square feet, it ends up being sort of a rectangular building. And this would allow us to have photovoltaic more things up there. This is the design that where we are.
The last phase, when
I think do you like the renovation though?
So I have a secondary question, and then I'll certainly answer that. When you had us vote on narrowing down from 4 choices to 2 choices,
Yep.
There was that great sort of scoring system that the building committee had done of the options against the criteria that you were using.
Yep.
Has that been updated for these 2, or will it be? Because part of what I'm trying to suss out, of course, is my recollection is that the new building, there was a stark difference in how a new building performed against all of those other criteria. So as I'm, I found myself going back toward the reno because the aesthetics seemed to be such a departure. So, but I'm a full equation kind of gal. So
The reno and the new were very similar in terms of the point system. They came out very close, and the difference is the new had a big separation between the other design.
Mm-hmm. And what's your sense thus far? Like, are we losing? I mean, I so fully respect how strict we've been about budget and that sort of thing. Was it an order of magnitude difference in our ability to bring again, it's the roof line that catches me more than anything.
Gotcha.
To bring that more, is it $26,000 or was it $250,000?
It's
Best that you could say.
Closer to 800,000-900,000.
Interesting.
Keep going.
No, as always, you are hearing from so many different people. I am not a traditionalist when it comes to architecture. Right. I would live in a modern house like that. So it's not just a question of I just don't like modern buildings. I actually really like them. But again, when I think about the full footprint of town center, as well as I'm making rash assumptions here, what I think our town generally gravitates toward, I'm thinking about the emotion that I heard regarding Charles River School's facade. I'm curious how that will play out and what's steered us in that direction.
That's why we have 2 choices. I think the reno sort of fits into the character of the town more. Yeah. Laverne. Yeah, you're on mute. You're still on mute, Laverne. No, we got to get you. Okay.
So as a person living on Old Meadow Road for 52 years, when I just saw that plan that you just had, I said, are we trying to match that horrible building that the Charles River School built a couple of years ago? When every person that rode through went, where did that come from? Now it looks like we're going to have the same thing. And the renovation looks much, much more in keeping with the other building. We've got brick buildings in the town. So I like the renovation idea. And if we renovate, then there'll be plenty of room for the senior citizens on the first floor. Jeannie and I will come in and we're going to decorate our space. We're ready.
So just remember, I just want to make a point that the Council on Aging space, that's the town office. That's the office space. That's not a meeting place. That's not necessarily a social space. That is an office. Next to that room is the meeting room, which is a room that would be more of a social space. Mm-hmm. So that is actually in both renditions. It's both next to the office. So it's just a different use than what we're doing now. Then there are also other rooms for social space, which could be the flexible rooms or any room. As you remember, we did a day in the life of a community center, and the seniors pretty much would have full occupancy from like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And the building, for the most part, is going to be for seniors. It's just a different way of looking at how you use different spaces.
And who's going to be in charge of managing the space? Who's going to say the bicyclists are going to have 2 o'clock and the yoga is going to have 4 o'clock and the, whatever? Who's going to do that?
That's a great question. The CMAC, which is Kathy Wells' committee, which is in charge of really the operations of the building now, and they make recommendations to the selectmen and everyone else. They are coming up with a working plan that's going to be mimicked probably after Lexington, where you have a building coordinator. And that coordinator is basically going to be responsible for all programming of the room. They will be hiring staff. They will be bringing in people to do the various activities. They're going to be responsible for staffing what we call the welcoming desk. When you come in, everybody comes into the building, they're going to check in. At that will be somebody, maybe a senior, whoever. It's going to be somebody who's there. Can we help you? We can direct people. You can sign people up for programs. So there's a coordinator that's going to be doing that. We're also talking about having two, it'd be one at a time, but 2 people in maintenance, which will be setting up rooms for the activity that's coming in and then breaking them down after that. CMAC's talking about having a maintenance person in the building whenever it's open. So you'd have somebody at the desk whenever it's open and somebody who is in charge of maintenance and setting up rooms and keeping them clean, et cetera. So be well coordinated. Whether that's going to be answering to Park and Rec, very well could be. They've been part of this process, so they might be doing that. What has been good in the past and will continue in the future is Mark and Janet have worked extremely well together, and I would think that would continue as we're going along.
Will all of those CMAC people be on the town of Dover payroll, or is CMAC a separate entity?
Volunteers.
They're volunteers.
They're like Kathy Weld is the chair of that group. And Park and Rec has a representation on it. I think the Council on Aging does. They're volunteers that's the committee in charge.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay, thank you.
And that's been going on since Caryl really began as a community center. Linda Pettit or Bob Pettit, whoever's hand I just saw.
That was mine.
Okay.
Who is going to regulate, control, or decide the renters that now use the Caryl building? And are they going to, this is supposed to be for the Dover community, and we have some wonderful renters in there, and I'm not negating that, and I know they bring in some income, but we are designating space for private people like Erin, God love her, but Erin and the bicycle group and so many others. Theoretically, if this is going to be a town building, it should be activities that are sponsored by either Park and Rec or the Council on Aging.
Linda, that's a great question. We're not anticipating any renters. Someone like Erin would be a outside contractor working with Park and Rec, and that she would not own a room. That would not be her room. That dance room is open all the time for everybody. But if there's a dance program and if Park and Rec wants her, or the coordinator wants her to be the contracted person, she'll do that. But in terms of the spin group owning a room, in terms of the Taekwondo group owning a room, in terms of the CDC owning a room, that's not going to exist anymore. I will tell you that because they've taken out and gotten petitions to do that, there's going to be a warrant article on June 12th by a group of citizens who want to continue the preschool. We've said to any group that wants expansion of our building that they can do that, and they're going to do that. They're going to have a warrant article. They're going to have to get 2/3 vote to add that to our program, and then they're going to need a 51% vote at the special election for bonding. It's a high hurdle. This is going to probably add the numbers that we've basically given them, $3 to $4 million to our costs. And it's going to take about 5,000 square feet addition to the building. But any citizen has the right to have a warrant article, and the preschool group's going to do that. As far as we're concerned, there are no renters, and we're keeping it to what we're doing. But if the citizens want to have that, they can.
If the CDC does get that through, does that mean a whole different wing for them, or would they be taking up room that is already been designated?
It will add it'll add roughly 5,000 square feet to the existing building somehow, some way, which would mean we're going to have to continue on with the design, which would probably change the building. But that's you know, you have the right to do that.
Oh, Lauren's got a question.
Other issues involved with that. It's a private group wanting to be in a public building, and if you're bonding, and we're getting legal opinions on that, it's a high hurdle.
Lauren's got a question, Ford.
Who?
Lauren Doherty.
Hi, Ford.
I'm sorry, Lauren.
That's quite all right. I am probably the closest abutter. I'm at 63 Center Street. My name's Lauren Doherty. And my first couple questions are very minor. I just was curious about whether or not in both scenarios, the renovation or the new building, whether there would be or would not be an elevator, and also whether there is or is not funding for air conditioning in both of those scenarios.
There will be an elevator and there will be air conditioning throughout the building.
Okay. My second question, my last question is a two-part. As you know, as abutters, we are very concerned about the location of a sport court, especially if the sport court gives the option of pickleball, which, as you mentioned, is, has been a, it's been a concern to many abutters around the country for the court location of pickleball because it is an extremely noisy activity. But beyond that, when I look at the location of where the drawing is now of the sport court, it looks incredibly close to the sidewalk, which means that it is also very, very close to Center Street. And if we all know what the traffic pattern is like in the morning and in the afternoon during the commuting hours. And I wondered what type of a fencing, what would be done for fencing, because you could not play basketball it doesn't look to me like you could play basketball in the location where it's being cited in the proposal without an extremely high fence or the risk of children getting a dangerous situation with the traffic pattern. And then beyond that, I also did wonder what the fencing situation would be on Center Street. The drawings are so beautiful with the wandering sidewalk and the green space. There's a chain link fence there now that is certainly necessary if a preschool is going to be there. Without a preschool, I just wondered what type of barrier options were being considered by the committee.
Lauren, thank you. And I hope George told you that I had a nice conversation with him. And I have
definitely did. He would like to be here, but he has a conflict.
No. I think having you here is much better. You can tell him I said that.
I'll tell him you said so.
If the book court was going to be there, and as I said earlier, the site, a lot of things on the site have not been decided. And as I told George, this has not been decided. if it was there's obviously has to be a high fence so you don't have a ball or something going over it on the Center Street side. Probably there needs to be a high fence anyway. I know we have some people from Park and Rec on here, but that would be my feeling. I don't think that's a good location either. I think it probably, as I've been thinking about it more and conversations, at least with George, probably where it is right now, without moving it. Obviously, it needs to be completely redone, might be the best place for it. The other place that we've looked at, as you know, is that green spot place adjacent to your property that we're hoping to use that for overflow parking, or it could be on the other side towards Whiting Road. I kind of think where it is probably the best place, but the committee hasn't decided that. This is Ford Spalding's they're thinking.
Okay, if I could just, the renderings that have been done right now, if it does need a tall fence and that is going to be located on Center Street, I think it's only fair to those voting that we are visually able to see what that looks like. I personally would not like to be driving into my center of town with a high basketball court and fence right near the traffic lights, sitting in traffic patterns every morning coming from Medfield and those west of us. Just my personal opinion, but I don't think I would be alone in that opinion. And I think if that then is what we're really looking at, that we should be able to see that in a rendering.
Lauren, I agree with you.
Oh, good.
So the other thing that we're talking about right now, and again, we are still working on the design and we need to see where we are financially. We're talking about perhaps having a stone wall. A nice low stone wall along Center Street, along that end of the property. So that's something that's considered. Ruth showed you some stone walls a few minutes ago. So that's being considered. Committee hasn't discussed that, but I know that's being considered.
Okay.
Now let me ask you a question. I can pin you down and then we'll go. Do you think having that recreation court at its present location makes some sense?
I enjoy watching and seeing the teenagers that gather there. I don't think it gets a whole lot of use. But you know, there on the occasions at the springtime and the fall when the kids are out there, there's nothing nicer than to see that. I really would not want to see high fencing, chain link fencing. I wouldn't want it to be anything more than what it is right now. And that's not even, I'm not talking as an abutter. I'm just talking about how the asset is being used in the center of town. If you were going to put a court that needed something, a high fence barrier, I would put it over on the Whiting Road next to what's already commercial property that, you know, all of those driving through Dover don't have to see. I just don't think that's the place for it. We have Caryl Park. There's a basketball court over there. I don't know that it gets used very often. But you know, there's a backboard right now next to the 4 tennis courts that I've never seen anyone on. Take that backboard off and that's a perfect size for a pickleball court. And it's already got asphalt on it. So there's other places for those activities. I just don't think it's the place for it is in the green center of town. And if I could just raise one other concern, I'm not as eloquent as Erin is. And I truly appreciated the way she asked her questions about the considerations that went into the renderings of a new build. But my concern is it brings opinion and emotion to people's vote. And I worry that if that's where you get, I think you might have a harder time getting this passed through town. We've been here for 23 years. We've gone through 2 or 3 votes to fund a community center, and they keep getting they don't pass. And you've gone through, every committee spends so much of their time, and it's so carefully done and so well thought out. And so well intentioned, and we really want to see this succeed. I would really suggest that you get a lot of feedback before proposing something that is very different than what we see in the center of our town.
Thank you. That's what we're getting is feedback.
Yeah.
Jean, you're on mute.
I'm not a public speaker, so I'm just going to read something that I wrote. That's okay. 1 minute and 10 seconds long. I've lived in Dover for 50 years and sold real estate for 35 years until I retired last summer. You may find me argumentative, but that's not my nature. My goal in real estate was happy buyer, happy seller, with everyone feeling they were treated fairly, even though they might not have gotten everything they wanted. Dealing with the building committee has been difficult. In the new build, the seniors and the board of the Council on Aging unanimously requested first floor space, but are put on the second floor. In my opinion, the Council on Aging should have been given priority space, not leftover space. They are the only people that will be occupying the building from 9 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday. Our neighboring towns are building senior centers. Why don't you give seniors some priority space? In the renovation plans, the COA is not given priority space, but what seems like leftover space. The area is half below ground. And I have looked at the windows, and right now on the inside, those 3-foot high windows start at the ceiling. So even if you add 1.5 feet, when you're sitting down, you're not going to be able to see out the window anything but sky. It's still, the area is set so low that it's going to make it very difficult to have windows that are of a usable kind. And I'm also concerned about the entrance from the rear. People will be parking in the rear of the building. And right now it's up 1/2 flight of stairs. How will the elevation be done in the renovation?
You're going to walk in on ground level and walk into the building.
But right now the building is set up so high. How are you going to walk in at ground level?
So I think if you're not walking in on the 1910 building, you're walking into the right in the new portion.
It'll be a new portion there?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to clarify about the windows, so all of the ground that is built up against that wall will be taken away to start with, if that design is chosen, so that they can take a look down towards the foundation to make sure that it's all water sealed. And then they will put some of that ground back, but not all of it. They don't want to go up as high because they want to make sure it's lower. And then in terms of the windows, the 3.5 and the 4.5 foot is from the floor. So at the moment, the windows are 4.5 feet above the floor. That's where they start. But they'll be lowered by 18 inches. So you will go from the floor up 3 foot, and then the windows will start.
I think we need a site visit to take a look at that, because it doesn't seem to me that that's the way it is. I've looked it over, and I don't know whether you've had an architect and an engineer come and actually look at it.
Yeah,
both are working on this.
And Jean, I specifically spoke to John this morning just about this, because I wanted to make sure I was really clear on it, because I know how important it is to you and to many others. I've done rehearsals in that space. I've been in the Blue Room for meetings, and I do know that it looks dark at the moment and it looks underground, but it will change with the renovations. It will change. Those windows will get bigger. They will go lower. In the Blue Room, one of the main windows that would have let most of the light in, because it's east facing, is in the Blue Room to the northeast corner where the air conditioning unit is. And that would definitely come out, and all that space would be, the windows would be lowered, they'd be bigger, they'd go lower, and they'd have a lot more light in, and they'd be brighter, and there'd be new floor coverings, new walls. It would look so different from what it is now. It wouldn't look like it's in the basement.
Can we have a site visit to see how it,
Boy,
so,
welcome to go.
so that us doubters that think it's going to be, you're still not going to
You
be
mean I
able to.
haven't convinced Eugene?
No, because the windows start at the ceiling.
But they're going to go lower. They're not going to, it's not saying that they're moving up, they're going lower. There's going to be a lot more.
Well, they obviously they couldn't go up
No.
at the ceiling.
But no, I mean, one of the things that Ford and I are trying to do at the moment is to get some visual imagery out that can be left out for everybody to come and see at the community centre and outside, because of the COVID situation that we're all still in. And both Ford and I would be more than happy to walk around with people that wanted to, and to give some more information. And I mean, I can't speak for the architects. I know we've got to be careful in terms of time and money, but it may be something that we can do closer to the day.
Well, I hope you'll be able to come up with something that you'll be proud of, the way we're proud of our schools and we're proud of our library. These plans do not seem to give the impression that, oh, great senior center located in Dover at their community center.
I, like you, Gene, have been in town a little while, and I, like you, appreciate what should be good for all citizens, including the senior centers, including the Council on Aging. We totally agree. I think we are thinking the same. I just have a little more faith than perhaps you do in our architect, who has designed buildings. We're not going to put the Council on Aging in the cellar. We're not going to have it not bright and look good in that building or in the new one. And the new upstairs is actually, I think, stunning. I know you don't want it upstairs, but that's in a corner space, and there's going to be plenty of room in the office space, plenty of light. So we're on the same length. We just have to have a little more faith.
Well, if the renovation, if that space where the blue room is and the cafeteria is going to be such great space, maybe you could put somebody else there and give us their space.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Anybody else? Oh, Jack, sorry.
Yeah, let me change subjects here very quickly. Septic systems.
Say that again.
Where is the septic system today, and where is it going to go in the future?
Septic system is going to stay right where it is. It's in the back of the building, and it will probably have to be redone. We're assuming that's going to have to be redone.
That's where the basketball court is then.
I think it's closer to the building than the basketball court, but it's right in that area, correct.
AC units, you're talking about a flat roof. Where are you going to put the air conditioning units?
I would assume they're going to be on the roof, but I don't know that. We don't know that yet.
And my favorite topic, bathrooms.
Yes, sir.
Could Ruth show us a look at the floor plans on the
Which one?
The renovated?
The renovated. Hang on
To
one
see where
sec.
the bathrooms are located and how many do we have?
There will be 3. There'll be a men's room, a women's room, and a unisex room. And in the unisex room, there's going to be also a shower in there.
So the typical men's room would have 1 urinal, 1 stall, and that's it?
I don't know that, Jack. I'm sure it'd be more than that.
I hope so.
Right now, Ruth, it's looking in this one, it's down below. That's it.
Yeah. So it shows two units there.
There'll be
And then there'll
3
be upstairs too.
So on this floor, there'll be 1 bathroom for men and 1 bathroom for women.
And then upstairs, those are upstairs, yep.
Upstairs, I think that's male, female, and then a parent room.
Mhm.
But I'm guessing these are not single ones. I think these will have a number of stalls.
Yeah.
And I did find the slide for the new build. Did people want to see that?
Yeah, please.
Bear with me while I get it back up. Okay, so this is, can everybody see that, the new build?
Yep.
So downstairs we have, on the ground floor, we have the entryway that I showed you from the back, and this is from opposite the townhouse, this side. And then you'd walk in and there'd be the welcome desk. You've got the play area and a cafe, the conference room and the kitchen, the community room, and the rec space and the parks and rec officers. And then upstairs, the fitness room on that corner that would have windows all the way around, the flex activity space overlooking the back entrance, the council and aging officers that would be on the corner with that balcony, and then the meeting room, which is it's like a gathering room, I like to call it now. And then you have the restrooms here and the restrooms here.
5.
Yeah.
And the elevators. The elevator.
Okay, thank you.
Laverne.
What kind of offerings are they going to have in the cafe? What's that going to entail?
The cafe, again, we haven't decided. It's not going to be it's going to be more self-service. You might have a couple of Keurig machines. There'll be a fridge in there. There'll be a place for coffee, soft drinks, water. Perhaps people will be bringing in Danish or something in there. It's a place where also you could go, like your group does, Laverne. You could go to Dunkin' Donuts, get your coffee, donuts, bring it over to the community center, sit in the front of the building or in the back of the building and meet rather than doing it at Dunkin' Donuts. You could do it at both places. Or you could go over to the market and get your coffee, get whatever, and bring it over too. So it's going to be more of a self-service operation, probably similar to the Wellesley Tolls operation.
And will that be for the visitors to the building or basically for the people who are working in the building?
That'd be for whoever.
Anybody.
Anybody. Okay.
Anybody and everybody. So the way that I view it is that if I want to go and grab a coffee and I want to just go and sit in there and maybe do some work or read, it's one of those, you never know who you're going to meet. So somebody might walk past to go to a program. You might decide to join somebody in a program just because they've called by. You might arrange to meet somebody there. So we see it as a real kind of central, a real heart of the building.
We're looking at this as a place where you can go in and if you don't know, plan to meet anybody, you go in and hopefully you'll find somebody you don't know or you know, and you can sit down and talk to them in the building. It's sort of a melting pot for all of us to go in. I don't think there's a place in Dover you can do that. This is a community building where you meet your neighbors, you make new friends, and you can socialize. You go to the gathering meeting room, play cards, or you can read a book or whatever or have a little conversation. There's plenty of space in this building to be able to do all those things. Linda.
Has any decisions been made on the kitchen space, especially in the old new building in terms of a warming versus a fuller kitchen?
We're dealing with Janet from COA on that now, and we've asked her for some input. We've had a meeting with her and a kitchen consultant, so that's yet to be determined, but she's given us some input that we're working with, and that's where we are.
Okay, so you're all very aware that having more than a warming kitchen is extremely important, especially to the seniors, so that we can have luncheons and whatever there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're here that you want a full kitchen where meals will be prepared there or they'll be brought in. It depends on what Janet told the kitchen consultant, but they are working on that.
To the activists.
Jean had a question, then Sierra.
I'm looking at the floor plans from the existing floor plans, and where the blue room is that we would be taking over, we currently have control of, and it's 1,250 square feet in these plans of the current building. And you're showing us the Council on Aging having 600 square feet. So I was wondering what's happening with the other 600 square feet that we now have.
This is not a school building, and it's not, a classroom building. The offices are going to have in there a director's office. They're going to have office space for 3 either paid employees or volunteer employees. There's also going to be a conference room, which could be a conference room or a personal care room. And that's the office suite for Council on Aging.
I'm familiar with that. And the current office suite that we have is listed on the current floor plan as being 1,388 square feet. And then we also have 1,250 square feet where the blue room is. And all that totals 2,700 square feet. And right now, the plans are showing 600. So it looks like we're going to be squished.
Well, the blue room is not part of your office suite, if I'm thinking of the correct blue room in the.
Right, that's separate. But
But there is flexible space. Nobody owns any rooms. That's, I think Laverne or somebody asked, are we going to be renting rooms? People own them. The only rooms that are going to be owned is the office suite for COA and for Park and Recreation. The rest is flexible space rooms.
That's fair.
That are going to be managed by a coordinator. Laverne, did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Sierra had a question for.
Oh, Sierra, sorry.
I'd just like to go back a few people to the basketball court and say that a fence, even a tall chain link fence, can be easily masked with trees. I've just been shopping for crabapple trees myself, and there are some vertical crabapple trees, which if they were put in between the fence and the sidewalk, they would be at least twice a year a great asset to the commuters, and the rest of the year they would just make the fence disappear. So I don't feel that a tall fence should be considered an insurmountable problem as far as keeping the basketball court and the potential pickleball court.
And it's overzooming.
Thank you, Sarah. That's helpful. Linda.
This is totally not to do with the building, but I just did my April cleanup and I filled a full trash bag just of the trash that was by the basketball area. There were bottles and Dunkin' Donuts, and I was overflowing. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem, because I was disgusted. And the cigarette butts, disgusting. Just my comment.
No, that's a good one, but hopefully with a full-time custodian in that building, that property would be maintained, and maybe whoever's using the court, the citizens, kids, or whoever they are, would have more respect for the property when we're done.
Good luck.
Sarah.
Or is there even a trash can near the court? That might solve all the problems. Okay, so if there's no can now, maybe there could be in the future.
Thank you. Any other, Jack?
Yeah, just another comment. In your vast travels on this study committee, did you find other COAs on second floors in other towns?
I spoke to John and Deborah about this because I did have a concern about it. And they said that, yes, they've built a number of different senior centers that all have, majority of them have second floors. So there would always be rooms that they would need to get to, which would be similar in terms of our new build.
The majority? The Mayfields, the Welsleys, the Natics, the Foxboroughs, et cetera?
I don't know. It was the ones that they designed and built, so I don't know whether it was any of them, but they did say that, yes, they have built senior centers, and yes, they have had second floors.
No, I'm surprised.
But they also have had, the ones that have second floors have their main offices and main activity rooms on the first floor. So the ones in the area here, and Medfield is all on the first floor.
Yeah.
And Westwood is all on the first floor.
Yeah, I mean, we have got the two options. We have got the option of the new build with the second floor, but we have got the option on the first floor. And I will say, having been involved in this for a long time now, I know that the architects and all of us that were involved in the interviewing and speaking to people, we're really trying to put every single person in this community forward, including and especially the seniors. I know that there's been lots of discussions about what is going to work, what is going to be great, what will give you all a great community centre to be proud of. And I suppose really from my point of view, you know, and what Lauren was saying earlier about the fact that we've had this has been going on for 20 years now. If neither of these designs go through, then we will be looking at millions that we need to spend on the community centre just to keep the doors open, just to do the boilers. And I do feel like either of these community centres, either of the designs, they may not be perfect for everybody, but they're going to be a darn sight better than what we have now. And they're going to give us something that the town can be proud of and that we can all enjoy using. And the welcome centre, the person who's going to be manning that, they will welcome you in like I know that you wanted that. You know, right now you walk into that community centre and there's corridors and you never sure quite where you're going or where the office would be or where the programme would be. And this will be so different. It will flow well. It will have that welcome centre. It will welcome people in. It will get somebody down from COA if you need them. People will be able to meet you downstairs. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to say that because I do feel passionately about this is why I'm on this board. And I just want to say that we all put our heart and mind into this to make sure that it's as good as we can get it for everybody. Okay.
Thank you. Laverne.
So when you drive up to the building, the new building, and you open the door, will the elevator be right there? Like the first thing you come to? The way it is now, if you come in the back, you have to walk 100 miles to get to the elevator. So is the new build going to be open the door, get in the elevator, go upstairs?
Let's take a look at the floor plan, Ruth.
And is the parking going to be close enough too? That's a big issue. Parking, well, not just handicap, but just parking in general has to be close.
Okay, when you go in the front door of this one, on the lower end, you walk through the welcoming area and there is the elevator.
Okay, is that the front door or the back door? Is that the White Road entrance or the Springdale?
That is the front door coming off of where it is now, and the front door off of Springdale, it's right adjacent to it.
Yeah. And where am I going to park if I have to?
You're going to park over where it's the lower level area. There's going to be parking in that area. And we have the floor, we can show you that in a minute. Why don't you go to the renovation?
So the elevator is going to be where it is now in the front, like it is.
That's exactly right.
Okay, it just seems like
that's in the new story. The renovation.
Yeah, just get to it.
We go in the front entrance by the lower level, or you come in from the street level and the elevator is right there.
In the middle.
Over here.
Yeah.
You want to use that ring?
It's where it is today.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can go to the site plan, please. Is somebody on the telephone?
It's my stockbroker.
Well, I'm afraid it's that other person. This is the site plan,
Sorry.
It's this because I could hear the telephone.
You can hear the phone?
If you, the parking is down in the lower left-hand.
Out there.
Just take the thing.
You got it?
This is the kids' lot today. That's the parking that's there today.
And there's parking closer to the building.
Ruth, do you want to take
Yeah.
your,
There's no parking here. There's some parking here.
There's parking.
Ford, sorry, what did you want to say?
Yeah.
where the parking is?
Just down
No
here.
parking is in that area there.
How far is that away from the building? That looks like a long walk for somebody with a cane, a crutch, a walker, a bad ankle, bad.
We will park where Ruth is showing now.
This is the access parking. So this would be for anybody who did need to get to park closer.
Okay.
So this kind of circular section would be great for being able to drop somebody off there and then drive back round and park.
All right.
There's
Doesn't.
no parking around here. That's for fire engines.
We also, as you know, there's a parking code that we have to go by, and we need approximately, I think it's 70 or 80 spaces. So that's what we're going to be accommodating.
Okay. All right. So there'll be enough. Thank you.
There will still be street parking at the north side of the building, correct? So
Correct.
that could be very
That
close to the-
parking exists already, so the parking in the front will all be there.
Yeah.
Can you show the parking in the new construction?
It'd be in the same place.
It's the same.
But the location of the building is going to be different from the current location. It's not going to be so close to that fence on Wading Road.
They basically, at the moment, this is the one site plan that we have, and they use the blue block to represent both the new and the renovate and new.
Okay, does that help you, Laverne?
Just sort of. It looks like these parking spaces are in Jack Donahue's building. Like if they're down on the right-hand side,
Jack,
you're looking at
building
those-
is way down on the left, off of Springdale.
so what street is this I'm looking at? Is that Center Street?
So this is where it says site option is roughly where the townhouse is.
Yeah.
And so this is Springdale going along here.
Oh,
And then
okay.
this is Whiting Road going along here.
Oh, so it's Whiting Road. Okay, I've got the wrong vision in my head.
No, that's okay. We are going to make sure that for the town meeting and future meetings that we have some more clear, maybe an extra
Labeled.
townhouse drawn on it.
Or maybe the streets would actually be labeled.
Yes, we can do that as well. It's a good idea. Thanks.
Yeah.
Actually, Laverne, we have other renderings, and
Yeah.
those are actually all on the website. If you go to the Dover Town website, all of our information is there under the building committee. So you can get better viewing there too. Linda. Still on mute. There you go.
That's it.
For those, there are many here who have not been to some of the other meetings. And so just a point of clarification on the new old building where the Council on Aging is, the area right next to that is all storage. And so theoretically, if the Council on Aging were, as we hope, really successful and a lot of people came in and we needed to expand, there could be something that would be done with that storage area, possibly long-term storage on the building on Whiting Road that could be used. And so with this old new building, there is the potential option of expanding COA space if need be in the future.
That's correct. We've asked the architect in the design for both of them to consider future expansion, whether it's for COA or what it's for. The building can be expanded
Should I call
various
Springdale and
places.
see where-
It
what
takes
happened?
away from the green aspect of the property, but
When you call
it can be expanded.
Oh, I gave him he couldn't get on, so I gave
Anything else? Jack?
Yeah, one quickie. Are you going to include operating cost in your?
Yes, sir. As best as we can. Exactly. CMAC has given us, are working on operating costs along with us.
How can you justify a new, I'd call him a cleaning person? You're taking an existing 15,000 square foot building and replacing it with a 15,000 square foot building, and then you want to add another janitor?
They won't be two at the same time. If you want to have somebody in the building at all times, obviously we're going to have probably two, and that's being worked out right now. Operating costs from a salary point of view will be increased. There's no question about that.
Definitely.
No question about that. But I think we need to have somebody in that building taking care of people. I know when I was setting up meetings, I had to go and set up the meeting, and I had to break it down and set up the tables and chairs. Yeah. I assume everybody else has to do the same thing.
Yeah, we do.
We're gonna, because the rooms are flexible use and they're not owned by people, we're gonna have to have a turnover of use.
Well,
that's good.
We thank Mark for his help.
Mark and Janet are awesome, as well as other people that are there. They've been very helpful with us. Is that Bob? That's a hand?
Yes. Am I muted? Can you hear me? Yeah. I just had a suggestion on the basketball court. If you turned it 90 degrees and moved it, say 20 feet away from Center Street, it'd be right behind the Doherty's garage. So if you put it in a high chain link fence, the Doherty's really wouldn't see that. It's just that it's closer to the green area for the center.
That's why I asked Lauren if what she thought of having it right where it is. I asked George the same question, so we're asking the question.
Yeah. Okay.
Build trust.
Any other comments, questions? There's some people we haven't heard from.
Part of George Floyd's legacy.
Joan King, what do you think? Benna Sears, what do you think?
To pass this legislation.
Here comes Benna.
Oh, not tonight.
Joe Kelleher.
Benna, are you going to speak?
Yeah.
Anybody else? JC.
So where are you going to have the drawings for us to get a closer look with the streets marked on the drawing so we know how it's positioned?
Great question. That's as good. I'm going to talk to the architect tomorrow. Our plan is to have after the May town meeting, because we have a May 1 town meeting, but our plan is to have posters located on the Caryl property facing towards the townhouse with various renderings so people can go take a look at them. Also, we're going to be having them posted on the website so people can look at it that way. So that's our plan.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ruth and I, or I'll volunteer myself, but Ruth will too. We're going to have those posters on the property. Hopefully, I think we have to get Park and Rec and Selectmen approval, but I talked to Chris Dwelly about that today, and he thinks it should be possible. We're going to offer that we're very happy to meet with people over there at their convenience to review them if they would like. Really, it's going to be May, and our town meeting is June 12, so there'll be a 6-week period for that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You ladies that go on a walk on Sunday, I passed you the other day. You could just think you finish your walk and go over there and have coffee, and that'd be great to see you there.
On a Sunday?
Sure.
I have to open up the building, hire a janitor.
That was
4 hours minimum.
Jack, we're going to get you to volunteer.
Thank you. Do I get free coffee?
Bob Pettit.
Yes, another question. The Stories who live on Whiting Road here, right behind the Dohertys, were concerned about the lighting in the parking area. as far as night lights for parking, whether they be there, and if they were, how late would they stay on?
The stories are, we're in communication with them also. We haven't talked about lighting on the property. I would hope that it be to a minimum, if nothing, back there. But we'll see if there are any code requirements to do that. You can do, all of our lighting that we have is going to be called, I think it's called daylighting. And daylighting it comes straight down and it isn't spread out. So I think that's going to obviously, town of Lincoln has daylighting as a regulation.
Well, Ford, I'm sure you remember when the library first put in their lighting, it was so awful that they had to take all of it down and they redid the whole lighting for the library. So I hope we don't make that same mistake.
No, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
When I think of the community room, that space there, and the picture that Ruth showed a lot of lighting coming out of it. I wasn't wild about that. We done, or do you have any other comments or questions? We are going to have on, I think it's May 12th, we're going to have a citizens forum for the citizens of Dover. Another one that we've had will be our third one. And then on June 2nd, I think.
June 2nd.
June 2nd, we're going to do the town meeting. I'm going to say performance, but the town meeting rehearsal is going to be that night. And we're going to do the same presentation that we'll be doing at the town meeting. So that'll be another citizens forum that we're going to be having. So those are the two that are planned now, unless Jack Welch is going to be kind enough to set up another meeting for us.
Let me check my schedule.
That was June 2nd, you said?
I think it was, is that right, Ruth?
Yeah.
June 2nd, there'll be one, and then also on May 12th.
Now, there'll be Zoom meetings.
There'll be Zoom meetings, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Will the warrant
We would
committee,
love to see, we would love to see the June 12th town meeting. It'd be in person, but I don't know if the moderator and everybody's going to let us do that.
I thought it was going to be at the high school.
It will be at the athletic field, but wouldn't it be nice if it was inside?
will the warrant committee have a meeting on this and will they produce a opinion?
I have asked the warrant committee and the capital budget committee to make an appointment for us to see them, and I have not heard back from them, so I assume they will. I think in 10 days, we're going to be at a selectmen's meeting also for discussion, as well. I think CMAC will be at that meeting also. So watch the agenda for the selectmen's meeting. I think it's about 10 days. We've been pretty close touch with all those committees. Cam Hudson from Warrant Committee has attended almost all of our meetings. Gordon Kinder, I know, has been coming. And obviously Bob Springett from the Selectmen's there. John Jeffries has been coming to a lot of the meetings. We've worked as hard as we can to get exposure. Seeing a lot of the same people, and I'm looking for new people. Ruth has done an amazing job helping us get the word out. I will say with Zoom, we're having far better participation than of meetings than I saw any other projects that I've worked on in town.
Well, thank you very much for your time, both Ruth.
Rudy, we're happy to do it. You know?
And thank you, Jack, for helping put together this meeting. Thank you.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Jack.
As just in closing, as Ruth said, the new and the partial renovation and new may not be perfect in everybody's eyes, but we think they're a heck of a lot better than what you have now. And if we don't get yes, which is end up getting a 2/3 vote at a town meeting, we're going to be stuck with what we have now. And we know is going to be a $6 or $7 million fix. And that doesn't improve the building. That's just going to really maintain the building. And there's a report that the Selectmen Commission have done about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. It's on on-site report on the website. Or you tear it down, and that's going to be about $1 million just to do that. Then there's no place for Council on Aging or Park and Rec. So unfortunately, there are choices. I don't think they're good ones. I think we're going to be presenting the best choices that are there for the future of a community center in Dover that will meet the needs of COA and Park and Recreation.
Ford, one of the biggest problems is the amount of money that you're getting and how the infrastructure and fire protection and all that has eaten into some of the funds you thought you would have. So if this doesn't pass at town meeting, could there be a follow-up of authorizing, say, 15 million or a larger figure so that we'd have this money to spend on the building that we actually don't have because of the surprises?
That will be up to the town. If the town wants to do that, I mean, this committee will be done, but that's up to the town. If they want to do that, they can.
Well,
We've been doing that for 20 years. So
technically, at a meeting, if something doesn't pass, can you put together a something along those lines?
the citizens can do that. Then they can be sure to work with the moderator if they want to add to it. As I said, schoolers are going to have a warrant article. I've heard that Park and Rec may have one to increase the size of the recreation building. I don't know if that's been done or not, but we're going with what the October 7th town meeting of 2019 told us. I believe in keeping our word, and I think we should do that.
Define his purpose. So George's legacy.
Anything else?
Yeah. What about what?
We really just want to say thank you as well to all of you for coming to this meeting. And I do hope that you'll pass on information to other people, friends, neighbours, other people in town. It'd be great to help pass the word and get people to come to the special town meeting.
This meeting has been recorded and it will be on the town YouTube site, hopefully at least by the first of the week.
I think Sierra just had one quick comment or question.
Comment is I have had consistently a very hard time getting any information about what you guys do off of the town website. So I would like to suggest a low-tech suggestion, which is put a banner outside the town hall saying when these meetings are happening and how to access them.
Sarah, have you gone on to the website where you get notifications when things are posted on the website?
I get notifications sometimes, not every time. Okay. And I have searched high and low all over the website. I've never been able to find any pictures of site plans or floor plans.
Really?
So just to try and help people, it isn't perhaps under the most readily thought through path, but it's if you go into the doverma.org and you look at government committees, it's under government, and then under the committees, and we're under C, so the section A to C, we're under the Caryl Community Centre Building Committee. And if you click on that link, you may need to go through all the different options. I think it's under news and updates. And that's where you will find all links to all the main community events that we've done, the YouTube videos, links to all the visual presentations. But yeah, I think Sierra, I included you on my most recent group email. So you should have my email address. And if you do get stuck, please email me. And anyone else, if you want to email me because you can't find information, or you want an event like this for some other friends, or you just want to pass on questions and comments, please feel free to reach out to me. You can get me at carolfeedback@doverma.gov.
The other way to do it, it's almost easier, is you go to the town website, go to the main page, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the main page, and on the left-hand side, you'll see the Community Center Building Committee. You can pick the building and all that, And if you press on that, it'll take you right to our page. That's another thing you can do. We've talked to the people in the townhouse. They know what we're trying to do. This is a new website for them, and I think they need some. But,
I'm just saying, if I weren't here, I would have no idea how to get here. So just a banner, everybody sees it who drives through town to the dump or whatever, just boom, right in front of you. You don't have to search into squirrel holes and so forth.
We're definitely going to do the banner. We may also be doing lawn signs. We're going to try and do some, like Ford was saying earlier, we really hope to do some actually large size poster type banners that will go perhaps at the back of the community centre or even at the front of the community centre, which will actually show some of these designs on them, so that you can see them up close, and it'll have information about the town meeting as well. So yeah, I am a fan of banners too.
that information's not going to go up until after the May 1 town meeting.
Foundation.
Yeah, we don't want to confuse people.
We don't want to take away from the May 1 town meeting, and I hope you'll all be there.
Well, no, I'm saying put it up before the May 1 town meeting so that people know to go to the May 1 town meeting.
Yeah,
that's up to the town to do that.
But yeah, Felicia is working on the banners for the May town meeting, and then she and I are working together to get banners up for the special town meeting afterwards.
Ruth?
We're good, but we don't run the town.
Yeah, Jane? Yeah.
You know, as you know, I've been trying to get something that looks like this for the current plans, and you email me stuff, but I can't print it up, and and I just have never been able to get something that is just simple. This is the floor plan in color, and if you could get that and not email it to me, but let me pick it up out of your mailbox or something, and I'll make copies, because a floor plan is very helpful, and a lot of seniors get totally frustrated with looking at them on a little screen, and so they just quit.
Completely.
We'll talk to the architect about
Yeah,
that.
I will ask the architect. I know that right now what you end up taking is on a PowerPoint, which can change it slightly and can be harder to print out. So let me see what I can do and what I can get from him. I promise. I'll try my very, very best.
Anybody else? I don't want to cut anybody off. Thank you very much for being with us, Jack. Thank you for setting this up. If you and Trudy want to do a coffee, we can do that also on Zoom. No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.